Hello, it's Lauren here from Waking with Wellness. Now, today I wanted to talk about a topic that I feel like I've spoken a lot about this year, but that is because it's been so important in my own life and kind of like revolutionary that I feel that it's just such an important message to share. And this is our ability to say no to things. Now, a couple of years ago, I kind of came about this from a very different perspective. I think I'd actually read a book. I think there might be a book called like The Yes Man, or there was something I read about saying yes to things. And so my intention for the year was just to say yes to every opportunity that really came my way. And in the process of doing that, I learnt new things, I did lots of things, and some of those things were really good, really exciting, and it was a good kind of learning curve. However, as I started to get more clear on what my values are, where I want to go in my life, like what directions I want to be heading, I realised that I just didn't have the time to actually focus on what I wanted to be doing. I was living in a way that instead was very reactive. So I might have a plan for my day or my week about, these are my goals, these are the things that I want to work towards. Yet by the time I got into the middle of my day, I'd suddenly been bombarded with emails and people asking me to do things that I then kind of just automatically did. And as a result, I didn't have any time left to focus on what it is that I wanted to focus on. And so I think I was very much living in a way of people pleasing, really, when I think about it. And I know for myself that this is a pattern that comes up a lot, of wanting to say yes, to please other people, to come across as very helpful and nice and lovely. And I think that a lot of us fall into this trap. Now, I've just finished reading or listening to an audiobook called Essentialism. Now, I've spoken about this in a couple of blog posts that I have written, and this is the second time that I've been listening to this book, because I kind of have this hope that through almost like osmosis, the words are going to just filter into my cells and I will just embody the message of this book. And the message of the book is really, what I'm saying is to take a look at your life and to think about, what are you saying yes to all the time? What really matters? And go from saying yes to what he calls the trivial many to really choosing the few things that you want to focus your time and efforts on. And he uses an example in his book of an old lady on her deathbed, and she said that I wish I had the courage to live a life that was true to me rather than the life that other people expected of me. Now, this quote is something, especially for me, that really just touches a place deep inside, away from the kind of worries and fears, because I really felt like this for a long time in my life. Once I did my PhD, I felt there was this expectation of how my career was going to move forwards. And I've actually found that when I've really thought about what I want, this isn't the kind of normal trajectory isn't quite, or wasn't quite the right fit for me. And so what do we need to do then to get on this like saying no path? Well, and again, these are things that I'm really practicing all of the time, but the first is to really connect to your values. And values, again, are something else that I talk about a lot. A lot of my work with clients is helping them to take a bigger look at their lives, to think about, what is it that I want to stand for in my life? As a mother, how do I want to relate to my children? In my work, in relation to my work, what kind of values matter to me? It could be creativity. It could be freedom, being able to decide your hours, or have more time off to spend with loved ones, friends, family, or just to reflect. And when we take time to connect to our values, it really helps us to step away from the mundane, the day-to-day stuff, and look at the bigger picture, thinking about, where am I heading in this life? And in the book Essentialism, Greg talks about the real shortness of life. There was this quote, and I can't remember it word for word, but it was like, what am I going to do in this wild and beautiful short life that I have? And really, we need to think about that. One of the exercises I do with my clients sometimes is to imagine that it's their 80th birthday, and to think about what other people are saying about the kind of life that they've led, and the kind of person that they've been, what they've done, what they've achieved, and how they've been there for other people, and the kind of values that they have shown in their lives. And this is so powerful because we just get on with our day-to-day stuff. We don't imagine ourselves when we're that old, or when our lives are coming to an end. And while it might seem morbid to do that, it really helps to put into perspective what matters now. So the first thing is connecting with your values. The second thing is choosing discomfort over resentment. Now, this is a little mantra that I got from Brené Brown that I use all of the time, because when we can choose discomfort from saying no to other people's demands, it's much better than long-term bitterness of resentfulness. And I have spent a lot of time in that space. I have said yes to things straight away because I've thought, yeah, that sounds like a good opportunity. Like, I wanted to please that other person. I just didn't really think that it was in my power to say no, which is ridiculous. And so discomfort is hard when we start to say no to things that we've been used to saying yes to, especially if you're the person that everyone kind of comes to and expects just to pick up the pieces. It is hard. You can feel guilt, you can feel shame, you can feel self-judgment, fear judgment from others, and there's a lot of stuff there that goes on. And again, in my work with my clients, I help them to find ways to really bring all that stuff to the surface and work on it, so that when it does come up in life, which it will, it doesn't have to take control. You have the power ultimately to still say no and let go of that. Then you don't have the long-term resentment. You've said no and you can let it pass. So values, acknowledging what's going to come up as you start to say no, and then finally, from that place of recognizing what's important to you, setting yourself goals that are aligned with that deeper space inside, not goals of what other people think you should be doing, like, oh, I guess I should go to the gym, or I should do this. Whenever you hear the word should, change it to a could. I like this kind of analogy, changing it to a could, because if you're doing something out of should, then that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about things that really matter to you, that will help to make your life more enriching. And hardly anyone in our society, I think there was some research saying that maybe like 1-2% of people generally regularly set themselves goals. And so this is something, again, that I have been working on, and I have been goal setting now for the past couple of years. And it really helps you to prioritize, okay, when these other demands come up, what am I going to say yes to, and what am I going to say no to? And sometimes it's actually quite good opportunities come up. I get asked to do things, and that part of me wants to say yes, but then I have to say, well, let me just kind of take a moment, and taking a moment is important. Let me just take a moment to just breathe, maybe give it a day just to kind of think about this. Well, is this going to take me closer or further away from the goals that are important to me? And so the word discernment is another word of mine at the moment that is like, I feel like I should have it across my forehead, because it's being discerning, because we have a limited amount of time and energy, and we can't do everything. We can't. We are made to think as a society that we can do it all, we can have it all, but we cannot. We cannot sustainably, without completely overwhelming and overburdening ourselves. So discerning what matters right now, what am I going to have to let go of, and what am I going to start having to say no to, so that I can say yes to the things that really matter to me. So I hope that helps you if you're in a place where you feel constantly busy, yet kind of unproductive and unfulfilled. So if you haven't already, then I recommend going onto my website, and at the top of the page you can download there. I've got a 12-step guide that talks about self-care and how you can really focus on your values, what matters to you. and start setting yourself some goals. It has some ideas for different techniques that I use in my work to help you to not let all of the emotional stuff take charge, so that you can really make that inspired action towards a more fulfilling and enriching life. So I hope that helps, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.